I've got a Smiths tachometer here, and or two. Hey, and sometimes, I mean, these have been known to have a few issues with them, and you'd have them die, or one day you'd be driving and it just cuts out on you, or some days it'll be sticky, and a few things normally go wrong with them. I mean, these are the later ones that have got the coil on the inside. They don't have the coil that clips on here, so it looks a bit like that. Okay, if you see what I mean, you'd have the two wires coming there, and anyway, so what happened with me is I was driving, and I mean, the tachometer seemed to stick for a while. I used to knock it, tap it, and it'll come back up, it'll work fine until the next day. And then today I had to tap it, it came back on, and it was working fine, and then it died altogether. I was a bit surprised that it actually died. I didn't expect it to, but yeah, okay, fair enough. Reading a few things online, I mean, I've got a bit of some forums here as such, and a lot of guys say the capacitor always has a high resistance ion, blah 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 blah, and he's given some of the units here, 0.22 UF. That is wrong. I mean, if you want to put stuff on the internet, make sure it is correct. It is not. Anyway, long story short, maybe he couldn't read the digits on his capacitor, maybe they're faded out or something. So this is what it would look like. So you can see that there are not many parts. I mean, let's go through the parts that would normally go wrong. Not much. Okay, the coil wouldn't normally go bad. You didn't expect the coil to burn out. Got a little resistor there, and then you've got a little capacitor over here, and this little capacitor here normally wouldn't go bad. You've got a little resistor behind it. This transistor would go bad if you wire it the wrong way around, say positive earth in a negative earth car sort of thing, and you don't necessarily get replacements for these. You do get some form of equivalence. I mean, I believe what I'm reading here, if he's correct, he has mentioned that there is a transistor marked as GET114. So if I don't know, I haven't tried, it's only £5, so just $6.20. So you'd whack that in and maybe it would work. But so there's a capacitor at the back here, and capacitors are known to go bad over time. Okay, so what happened was, this is the spare unit I've got. I mean, I thought, I just whacked the spare in, it was working fine, but then I decided, you know what, I'll have a look at what's wrong with this one, and I replaced this little shit-ass capacitor. You can see that little bit right there, and I've got a few, these are the spares I've got. I mean, they're not perfect, they're Chinese made, everything's bloody Chinese made these days. And even the coronavirus bloody Chinese made. So I mean, if I can focus onto this, I'll try and get some zoom onto this, I can show you. So you can see that is 2.5 UF, 2.5, and it is rated at how many volts? 16 volts. As long as you're over that voltage, I mean, another thing is, if your alternator or dynamo is giving too much voltage, you would end up killing capacitors. So as long as the capacitor is within voltage ratings, you should be fine. So I have got here a 2.2 at 50 volts. This is the closest standard rating you can get. I've whacked that in, you can see that there. I mean, it's the writings at the other side. Okay, of course you can see that, and this wires up the same. Of course, you've got the positive sides right up top here, and negative at the bottom. And I'm gonna change it in that, but I just thought I'd show you that's the original, and that's what I've replaced. Let's replace it just the same, and I've just tested it in the car and made sure, and it came back to life, and I'm just pretty surprised. I mean, you shouldn't touch the face, but who cares? 50-year-old car after all. There's some imperfection. There's a fingerprint on the dial. Okay. If you like it, kudos. If you don't, then I mean, thumbs down. Up to you. Subscribe and shit.